Every era has a chosen one, a prodigy so gifted, the game bends around them. For Brazil, that name was Neymar. He wasn't just a player, he was a revolution, a new face of flair, freedom, and fantasy. When he burst onto the scene, it felt like football had found its next king. But sometimes genius is a double-edged sword. The same fire that lights your path can burn you alive. This is the story of Neymar da Silva Santos Jr., the boy who dreamed of being loved by the world and ended up divided by it. This is the fall of Neymar. Genius, fame, and fragility. Chapter 1. The Birth of a Prodigy. It began in Mogi das Cruzes, Brazil, a skinny kid with a ball glued to his feet. From the moment Neymar touched a football, he didn't just play, he performed. His father, a former player himself, became his mentor, his manager, his shadow. Together they built a dream so big it could only belong to Brazil. At Santos FC, Neymar wasn't just a rising star, he was a national obsession. His dribbles weren't tricks, they were poetry. His smile, his hair, his swagger, he was the show. And when Pelé himself blessed him as Brazil's next great hope, it felt like destiny. By 21, he'd scored over 100 goals, won the Copa Libertadores, and carried the weight of a nation on his back. Brazil didn't just see a player, they saw salvation. Chapter 2. The Barcelona Dream. In 2013, the dream went global. Barcelona, the cathedral of football, came calling. He arrived as the next jewel in a crown, already glittering with Messi. And what followed was magic. Together with Messi and Suarez, they formed one of the deadliest trios in football history, MSN. It wasn't just about goals. It was art. It was joy. It was domination. The 2015 Champions League final. Neymar scores. Barcelona lifts the trophy. And at 23, he's at the top of the world. But behind the smiles and celebrations, a quiet storm was growing. Because in every shadow of Messi's brilliance, Neymar's own light began to fade. He wanted to be the one, not the apprentice, not the sidekick. The King. Chapter 3. PSG and the Quest for Crowns. In 2017, he shocked the football universe. Paris Saint-Germain paid 222 million euros, the biggest transfer in history. He didn't just break records, he shattered them. This was supposed to be the moment Neymar became his own legend, his own kingdom, his own story. At first it worked. Goals, assists, trophies, he was unstoppable. But cracks began to show. Injuries, controversies, whispers about his discipline, his focus, his nightlife. And when Mbappé arrived, young, hungry, and fearless, the same pattern began again. The new prince was becoming the king, and Neymar was once more in someone else's shadow. He'd left Messi's to escape it, only to find another waiting. Chapter 4. The Body Breaks. Then came the pain, the ankle injuries, the back fracture in the 2014 World Cup, the endless cycle of recovery and relapse. Every time he seemed ready to rise, his body betrayed him. And yet, every comeback came with flashes of brilliance, the kind that reminded everyone why the world fell in love with him in the first place. He could humiliate defenders with a single flick. He could turn a quiet stadium into chaos with one goal. But the game was changing, and Neymar, the entertainer, was playing in an era that no longer had patience for showmen. Chapter 5. The Weight of a Nation. Brazil wanted him to be the next Pelé, but Neymar never wanted to replace anyone. He just wanted to be Neymar. The 2014 World Cup was supposed to be his coronation. Instead, it became his nightmare. In the quarterfinal against Colombia, a brutal knee to his back fractured his vertebra. He collapsed, screaming. A country held its breath. He missed the semifinal. Brazil lost 7-1 to Germany, a tragedy. 4 years later, in 2018, he returned. But instead of glory, the world mocked his theatrics, his rolling, his frustration. Memes replaced cheers. Doubt replaced faith. He became a global superstar who was somehow never fully respected. And that contradiction broke something inside him. Chapter 6. The Cost of Fame. Neymar lives in a world no one else can understand. Endorsements, cameras, pressure, billions of eyes. He once said, "I'm not a superhero, I'm just human." But that's the problem. The world never wanted Neymar the human. They wanted Neymar the miracle. And when the miracle stopped performing, they turned their backs. He became trapped between two worlds, the genius on the pitch and the celebrity off it. The parties, the headlines, the drama, they all became part of the legend and part of the fall. Chapter 7, the exit from Europe. In 2023, Neymar left Europe. He joined Al Hilal in Saudi Arabia. For many, it marked the end, the final act of a once brilliant career. Critics said he'd chosen money over legacy. Fans said he'd given up too early. But maybe for Neymar, it was never about proving anything to anyone. Maybe it was about peace. After 2 decades of being a target, a headline, a symbol, perhaps he just wanted to breathe. Chapter 8, Genius, Fame, and Fragility. Neymar's story isn't just about talent, it's about what happens when genius meets the world's expectations and breaks under their weight. He remains one of the most gifted players ever to touch a ball, a magician, a showman, a dreamer. But the same passion that made him special also made him vulnerable. Because genius isn't perfect, it's fragile. It burns bright, but it burns fast. He's still playing, still searching, still fighting his own story. And maybe, just maybe, his final chapter hasn't been written yet. He made us laugh. He made us scream. He made us argue. But above all, he made us feel. Neymar is more than a player. He's a reminder that even the brightest stars sometimes fall. What do you think? Was Neymar's fall his own doing? Or was he a victim of the world's impossible expectations? This is Inside the Game. And this was the fall of Neymar. Genius, fame, and fragility.